This is ZNS Total Sports.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association naming its 2019 Davis Cup team. Charles Fisher tells us who will carry the flag for the 242.
Good evening, John, and good evening, the Bahamas. Yes, the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association naming its Fed and Davis Cup teams earlier today. The criteria a bit different from in the past.
The Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association's criteria for the selection of its Davis and Fed Cup teams are top 800 ranked players on the ATP WTA Tour, 2. top finishers in the B.A.I.S.S Open Challenge. These criteria have been in place for several years. However, even though there was a successful end to the 2018 Open Nationals, we recognize that some of our top players did not play. In the spirit of transparency and equity, the board appointed a special independent committee to make recommendations for the criteria to be used for the team selection.
President of the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association, Don Edward, announcing those teams. First, the ladies that will travel next month.
Sydney Clark and Sierra Donaldson. Number 2, Carrie Cartwright and Danielle Thompson. And lastly, the 5th player to be selected.
Name to the Davis Cup team.
Returning captain, Marvin Rowe. Number 1, Dante Ambrister and Justin Lund, top finishers. Number 2, Kevin Major Jr. and Baker Newman, 2 highest players ranked. And lastly, on the Davis Cup team, Philip Major Jr.
The BLTA thanking that special board that was put together to name this team, saying that moving forward, they will follow this criteria. At the National Tennis Center for ZNS Total Sports, I'm Charles Fisher.
The government secondary schools into the final week of their regular season basketball schedule. The AF Adelaide Tigers trailed at the half yesterday against the HO Nash Lions, but the third and fourth quarters a much different story. Tigers complete the comeback and win this one 47-32.
I had a good talk with them during halftime, and I reminded them that on any given day, any team can come out here and they can win. So you have to go and take it. You can't just expect somebody to lay down and give it to you.
In the standings, the 4-2 Tigers looking up at both the CH Reeves Raptors and D.W. Davis Royals. Those two teams played earlier in the week, and this one went right down to the wire, with the undefeated Royals handing the Raptors their first loss of the season. Should this be a championship preview, fans are in for quite a treat.
Kenyon is a big court, it's not slidey. We'll make our adjustments, and I'm sure they will. But hats off to them, they're playing very good, and the only way you can improve if you get resistance. I'm going to call practice. We'll go back to the drawing board, make our adjustments, and ready for the playoff.
We got to go there, win the first playoff round, and then hopefully see them in championship and then take the big thing.
It wasn't ideal conditions for basketball outdoors yesterday, but the Queens College Comets and Sacs Big Red Machine braving the elements for a junior boys showdown in the B.A.I.S.S private school season. This was a low-scoring affair, with QC going on the road and staying perfect on the season at 4-0 with a 24-15 victory.
It's a tough day to play basketball outside. It's windy, it's kind of chilly, so the boys took a little longer to get warmed up, but once we got warmed up, it's pretty much just an execution type of game.
On the senior boys side, St. John's picking up a win on Monday over St. Andrews to improve to 8-1, but they know it's not going to be easy the rest of the way.
JPW, still to me the class of the B.A.I.S.S. You have Sacs still up there, QC, Temple Christian definitely. So there are a lot of players. Things still haven't shaped out yet to see who would be that Final Four.
The Bahamas Scholastic Athletic Association on court yesterday at the Hope Center. A back-and-forth battle in the senior boys division between Cherub Christian and Mount Carmel. Cherub finding a way to pull it out, 29-26.
For the most part, they really played D. Because in basketball, you really got to play D to win game. Offense could carry you so far, but if you could stop the oppositions, you could very well get a win. And I was glad the guys came out of the win tonight. They really pushed.
The Province Women's Basketball Association with action last night. Don't look now, but the defending champion Bees Trucking Destroyers have lost 2 in a row. They fell 79-70 to the youthful Foxy's Angels. From the Province Basketball Association, it took double overtime to decide a winner in Division II action on Monday night between the Breezes High Flyers and Leno's Eagles Nest. Leno gave the defending champs all they could handle, but in the end, Breezes prevailed 194. 2 games on court tonight. Up first in Division II, the Alive Buckets and your Essential Store Giants. That's followed by Division I play between the University of the Bahamas Mingos and the PJ Stingers. In N.P.B.A. action last night, Buddy Hield and the Sacramento Kings on the road in Toronto against the Raptors. Buddy, 5 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from behind the arc. He finished up with 15 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds in 35 minutes. The Kings, they're now back to 500 at 24-24 after suffering a 120-105 loss. The Kings now 1-3 on their 6-game road trip, and they play again on Friday in Memphis against the Grizzlies. The Metropolitan Junior Baseball League out of Virginia in town last weekend for a series of games against teams from Freedom Farm, and this is just the beginning.
I think with the group of people at the helm now controlling what's happened here, I think we're going to see a lot more teams come in and be able to see our kids perform against international talent.
World medalist Levan Superman Sands knows full well how expensive it is to be a professional athlete, and he thinks that's a big reason why Bahamian track and field isn't where it should be.
You know, it's not a lot of sponsors out there. So if we could get back to where we could get a few sponsors, and then I think the performances would rise again. Because I don't know if you notice our performances haven't been that well because athletes are really stressed out because you can't really afford training.
And that will do it for sports, but stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight comes back after the break.
This is ZNS Total Sports.